Well, what a pleasure to be here in Adelaide, and what a remarkable thing to be addressing what I'm told is the largest ever business gathering here in South Australia. Christopher Pyne has often told me how popular he is in Adelaide. And looking at this crowd, I can almost believe him. It is great to be here amongst the business people of South Australia, because this is a government which is your friend in Canberra. This is a government which understands in the marrow of its bones that we cannot have strong communities without strong economies to sustain them, and we cannot have strong economies without profitable private businesses. This is at the heart of everything this government does. You know, there are 135,000 small businesses here in South Australia alone. 100 times this vast concourse would not give you all of the small businesses in South Australia alone. And if every one of those 135,000 small businesses went out and invested up to $20,000, as they are now encouraged to do under this budget, that would be a $2.5 billion plus shot in the arm for the South Australian economy. So today, I bring you a message of hope and optimism and confidence. This is a government in Canberra which is on your side. And we are not just on your side rhetorically, we are on your side in the most practical possible way. We want to make it easier for you to invest your money in what you think is important for your customers, for your staff, for your shareholders, ultimately for our country. That's what we want to do. We want to work with you, not against you, to build the better state and to build the better country that every single one of us wants. On election night, I said that Australia was under new management and once more open for business, and I meant it, because we sure needed to change after the previous 6 years. We all remember the chaos, the waste. We remember the bats that caught fire in people's roofs. We remember the cancellation of the live cattle trade in panic at a television program. We remember the school halls that were built at 3 and 4 times the price. We all remember that. We remember the carbon tax, socialism masquerading as environmentalism. We remember the mining tax, the tax that crushed confidence but didn't raise any money. So after all of that, we needed a government that respected business and wanted business to get on with doing what it does so well. Invest, employ, innovate for the good of our country. And every day, this government has been doing everything we humanly can to try to make that great dream a reality. We've been cutting red tape, about $2.5 billion a year in red tape savings that we believe we've already delivered. We've created one-stop shops for environmental approval, and Greg Hunt has so far provided environmental approval at the Commonwealth level for $1 trillion. $1 trillion worth of new projects. There are workplace relations change in the Senate pipeline, including the full restoration of the Australian Building and Construction Commission, which did so much to create the rule of law on our construction sites. Most importantly, there are free trade agreements now in place with our 3 biggest merchandise partners that provide extraordinary opportunities for some of the great businesses of South Australia. Our wine exports, duty-free now to China, Korea and Japan. Our beef and meat exports, duty-free to China and Korea. our dairy exports duty-free to China and Korea, and with much reduced tariffs and increased quotas to Japan. Government which wants you to have every opportunity to make the most of your business and to make the most of your future. And yes, there was... Last year's budget, despite the difficulties in $1 billion worth of savings over the forward estimates, different budget this year. We are still on track, credible track, to a surplus. Every under the former government. Peak debt is 110. So this is a budget which is economically in the most Australia have every chance to be economically can do this again and again and again and still gain the instant asset write-off. This is a remarkable form of stimulus. It's not the government taking your money to invest it in the things that we, the government, think matter. It's allowing you to use your money to invest it in the things that you think matter, and then saying you'll get a tax advantage in doing just that. So this, if I may say so, is an economic initiative which is based on our trust and confidence in you. We believe in you. We think that you have it in you to change our country for the better every bit as much as politicians and officials in Canberra have it in us to change our country for the better. I hope you feel the trust and the confidence that we repose in you, because quite frankly, this is the best budget in Australia's history for small business. And I must say, I was a little concerned, as you always are, when you bring down a budget. You never quite know how it's going to go. But I was watching my favourite television program last Thursday night, Downton Abbey, and the ads were full. The ad breaks were full of advertisements for motor vehicles. And you know, every single company that was advertising that night had dropped the price of its utilities to below $20,000. So I knew that we had struck a chord out there in the community. You can invest in a ute. You can invest in upgrading your workshop. You can invest in re-equipping your toolkit. It's a great budget for the tradies of Australia. But whatever your small business, a workshop, a shop, a restaurant, a cafe, a small pub, a pharmacy, whatever it is, you've got that instant asset write-off, which says to you, that investment that you've been wanting to make for so long, go out and do it. Go out and do it because you'll keep more of your money in your pocket at the end, thanks to the decision of this government. Of course, we are continuing to spend on the infrastructure that South Australia needs. This government is not only a great friend of business, but it is a great friend of South Australia. How could we fail to be a great friend of South Australia when you've got Christopher Pyne as the leader of the House of Representatives? How could you fail when you've got Simon Birmingham as his assistant, Jamie Briggs as the infrastructure mastermind, the road mastermind of our country? And you've got Stephen Marshall, who I regard as the author of the Marshall Plan to get the North-South Road corridor upgraded to expressway standard within a decade. We are already committed to spending $1 billion on the North-South Road corridor. I've had constructive discussions to kickstart infrastructure spending, particularly in the north of Adelaide, where it is needed most. And yes, so much of our defence dollar is spent here in South Australia. And I want to assure you that South Australia will get a fair go when it comes to the future submarine contracts. And I want to assure you that whoever ends up winning the tender to build future submarines, there will be more submarine jobs in South Australia. We have 15 years of assured sustainment work on the existing Collins-class submarines, and because there will be more submarines in the future than there are now, sustainment alone will produce more jobs in South Australia. But in the end, I don't want to say to you that government is your salvation. The salvation, the economic future of the people of South Australia rests in the hands of you, yourselves. And my job, Christopher Pyne's job, Jamie Briggs' job, Simon Birmingham's job, our job is to make it easier for you to grasp that future that is before you. That's our job, and that's what we are so determined to do. I dare say that you've all listened to many budget speeches over the years, and they are so often a cavalcade of economic statistics, a shopping list of new government programs, and yes, there was a fair bit of that last Tuesday night. But at the heart of this year's budget is our faith and our confidence in the businesses of Australia, our faith and confidence in particular in the small businesses of Australia. We believe in small business because we come from small business. Joe Hockey's lived experience is of a small business, and when it went well, the family flourished. When it struggled, the family suffered. And we know that the 2 million plus small businesses out there are the engine room of growth and creativity and jobs in our economy, and we know that when they are going well, our country goes well, because all of them are the customers of big business, and some of them will be the big businesses of our future. I'd like to think that what we've done with this year's budget is produce something which is quintessentially Australian, produce something which goes with the grain of our country. I'm often asked, particularly when I'm overseas, what is it about Australia which is special? Why is it that we and the rest of the world look to your country with such admiration? And when I ask myself, what is it which is unique about our country, there are two things that come to mind. First, we want to ensure that everyone gets a fair go. That's why we do the right thing by our neighbours, why we try to help when people are in trouble, whether it be sending fodder to farmers in times of drought, rallying to communities that have been hit by fire or flood or storm, doing what we can to help in other countries when they are hit with disaster. We want every single person to get as far as we can make it a fair go. But the other thing that is very deep in our psyche is we want to have a go. We are people who do not wait to be asked. We are people who do not wait to be told, we see a problem, we have a go at fixing it. We see a challenge, we want to meet it. That's what it is to be Australian. And yet we all know that over the last few years we've been underachieving. We all know in our guts that we could have done better over the last few years. And I am determined over the next few years we will do better. We will do better. And we will do better best if we can encourage the businesses of Australia to go out and grab the opportunities that are within their reach. That's what this budget is all about. It's about grabbing the opportunities that are within our reach so that we in this country, in this state, can be everything that we should be, so that we can be, for the first time in some years, once more at our best. So thank you, everyone, for being here. I really appreciate your presence. The fact that you are here in such numbers shows that you want to succeed and you want to work with government at every level to make it happen. Thank you so much. We will make it happen, and I think you can all be confident that this time government will not let you down.